For the second round import, we've done something quite unique in this industry. Most of the time, when you do a second round import, you're just going to get a copy of the report, and one of two things is going to happen. One, you got to print it out and then go ahead and compare it to your old one, or two, it's there's some automatic system that automatically updates your original report with any new items. Now, we decided to go with a side-by-side comparison. All right, and there's a very good reason that we did this, because automatic overwrites are not reliable. They just aren't. There's always a chance for errors. Okay, systems are not perfect. Sometimes coding can get changed on either side, and it may actually show that there was a positive result when that wasn't actually true. Or it didn't import some new item that was on there, or an item is missing, and you'll never know, right? So this is a very, very good way of doing it. So basically what you're looking at here is we have the current report that we just imported for the second round, and then we have our previous report, which is the original. Okay, so if you notice here on, for example, personal information, and once again everything's blurred for a good reason, but if we look at our original one here, we were disputing, as you can see here, in dispute for a couple of these addresses, for example, and we did our second round import, and it came back and they were still negative. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're basically going to be updating our previous report slash master report. So what we would do with that is, if there are still negative results here, we just simply push one of these buttons here and it will move over the changes. Okay, if we go down here to credit inquiries, for example, so if we did resident verify, whatever that is. So we disputed it initially, it came back, it's still negative. We can just hit this button right here, and you'll notice that it's now changed it. It's put it back to negative, so we can actually include that on our next round of disputes. All right. So if we go down here a little further, you can see that all of them, just like the first round import, they're all tightly packed, so you can expand them individually. There's actually a way that you can expand all of them. That's something that we're going to be installing here shortly. But basically, you can line them up and you can kind of compare them. So if we look at, this is a positive one from our previous report. Now, of course, we've done this demo a couple of times, so this isn't exactly synced how you would see it. Originally, this one here was, in fact, negative, and it came back with a positive result. All right. So the positive result, we'll want to go ahead and update that master report with the new results, and it will push all the information over automatically. And if it is in fact positive, then of course you don't need to dispute it any further, but it will update the master record, and you can move on to the next one. If we look down here is an example of a negative one. So essentially you got these two scroll bars which you can match up, so you can compare side by side, data for data. It saves a whole lot of time. Eventually, we are trying to install some type of a fixed scroll. It is a little difficult because, there are variations on imports, but it's something we'll be working on anyway. But for now, you can still put them side by side, which is the most important. This is the only way to make sure it is 110% accurate. Okay. Yes, it might be a little more convenient or quick to have an automatic overwrite, but like I stated before, the chances for errors are all over the place. And the last thing you want when dealing with this kind of stuff is some type of dumb mistake that you just didn't see and you didn't know. All right. So once again, if this was still negative, we're going to go ahead and just click move over these current changes to the original report, and we can continue to dispute. All right, so once you move over the data and update it, you can change the reasons, right? Maybe there's a different reason, maybe there's a different instruction for this next round. You can do that right there. And of course, if it is incorrect for some reason, you can always change the statuses for each of the bureaus as well. All right, so once you're done comparing the reports and updating your master, you'll just go ahead and save it, and then we can get to our dispute results table, which will show us, kind of a top-level view of what's going on. One last note on here is that you can actually save a little bit of time here, because it does show positive and negative. So you can actually click these buttons at the top here to only show me the negative items, on both sides, or only show me the positive ones, which can be time-saving. And lastly, you can actually print the report if you feel like doing it old school. Click that button and you're good to go. So after you've sent off your letters and you get a response after the second round, you're going to be able to see the dispute results tab. It's not going to appear until you've done your second round. All right, so this is basically a list of only the items that are currently in dispute. So you can see, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and if it was a furnisher one. So it's just going to show you real quick at a glance all the items that are in dispute that are still remaining. You can actually add new instructions right here as well to include with the next round if you want to do that here. And you'll notice that this one here is a little grayed out. That's because this dispute was only for a furnisher. So you can actually change the status here as well if you want to, but that's why those are not clickable. But everything else that was a bureau, you can see all the results right here. And it's just a really quick overview of where you're at in the process.